Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be reading Pet by Chidgey. I don't know how to say it, but that is the title of the book. It's got about 31 chapters, so you'll see me probably about 31 times. So, yeah, I will see you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. Chapter 1 opens with Justine and her daughter named Emma visiting Justine's father in a elderly home, and it seems that he either has Alzheimer's or dementia. He has some sort of degenerative disease of his brain, and he thinks that Emma is his daughter and that his actual daughter Justine is actually his wife come back from the dead. And there is a nurse named Sonia who's taking care of him, and Justine is thinking to herself that I know this woman, and asks her father about it. Her father's like, what are you talking about? And it's 2014, and so now chapter 2, just hit myself. Chapter 2 is cutting over to 1984, so I will see you in a minute. I skipped telling you about chapter 2 because it was very short, so now I'm going to tell you about chapter 2 and chapter 3. In chapter 2, Justine has a seizure in the garden behind her house, and her father brings her in, and they're watching a show together, and they're talking about whether or not she needs to go back to the doctor. And Justine is worried that she's going to have a seizure at school, and he says, don't worry about it. If you have a seizure at school, Mrs. Price, her teacher, will take care of you. So then the next day, she goes to school, and she's showing Melissa, a girl who sits next to her in the class, her lucky pen. And it's the pen on the cover of the book. It's red, and it has a ship. It's one of those cute souvenir pens. And she uses it for all her tests. It's her good luck pen. And then they're talking about Mrs. Price, which is the teacher. And the children idolize her. She's perfect. She can do no wrong. Everybody had a teacher like this when they were a kid. That teacher that you were desperate to please. They call everyone my darling and my love, and she clearly loves the students. It's that kind of thing. And she calls everyone her pet. Whenever they are on her good side, they are her pet. So Justine fails a test, and she tells Mrs. Price about her mother passing away the year before and about missing her pen and the seizure. Mrs. Price drives her home and takes her to Justine's father's shop, and they run an antique store, where Mrs. Price gets hit on by a man. She rejects him because she's married, and of course he does you're a bitch anyways, which yay men! So, that's chapter 3. Bad news, I got sick. Good news, I'll probably finish this book today. So, I'm up to chapter 6 right now, and Justine and her friend Amy are arguing constantly right now. Sorry, let me stop jostling you around. They are constantly arguing because ever since the seizure, and where Justine kind of confided in Mrs. Price, she's now one of the favorites. She's now one of the pets. And Amy is very jealous of this because Justine gets to run around and do errands and help clean up, and Mrs. Price calls her my darling and is just very nice to her. And she's also giving her pets better grades than the other students when they don't really deserve it. And then they go off to a church in which the pastor tells them about seeing this cloth that was taken from Christ's burial chamber, where you can see him. This is kind of confusing. It's a shroud, and you can see him, not his reflection, but the impression of him in the cloth. And I don't know if that's a real thing or not. I'm not religious or anything like that, but one of the boys questions the priest and is like, oh, you said that the entire population of New Zealand was there, but my mom and dad didn't go. And that's obviously, like, he was trying to give them an understanding of how many people were there at this burial site thing. And then Mrs. Price later then gives him a lower grade on his assignment, even though he doesn't deserve it. So, something else to note that I was thinking about is that I don't actually know what this book is about. A lot of the times with thrillers, I won't read the blurb because a lot of the times I can then guess what's going to happen. So, this could very quickly turn into like a Predator thing, and I would have not known that was going to happen. I don't think it is, but I also don't know. There's a lot of infatuation with Mrs. Price. So, I will update you probably in a bigger chunk now. Each chapter doesn't have a whole lot that happens, and it's hard to tell what's important and what's not. So I'll probably read a bigger chunk this time before I update you. But yeah, I will see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm back, and I am now on chapter 24. Things are going missing in the classroom. Justine's pen went missing, and now people are losing gloves and stationery, little trinkets that they bring, jewelry, that kind of thing. So, sorry, I sound disgusting because I'm sick. But the whole time, they're kind of pointing fingers at each other, the students are. And they start pointing fingers at Amy, Justine's best friend, and because she and Amy have been fighting, she doesn't really defend her at all, and it drives a further wedge between them. And it comes to a point where Mrs. Price asks them to write who they think is stealing on a slip of paper, and then she collects them all, which is a wild take. And several other teachers and like authority figures in the school also think it's a crazy move. But like, I get it. No, I don't get it. I'm just saying, like, I think that she is trying to give them all a sense of responsibility and a sense of power and justice. So everyone votes Amy, including Justine, and she really betrays her friend. And Amy writes Justine, so when Mrs. Price confronts her about it and is like, hey, someone wrote your name. Like, have you been doing it? Do you have anything to do with it? And Justine's like, no. And she starts crying, and Mrs. Price is like, it's cool, we're good. So the other thing that's happening during all of this time is that Justine's dad starts going out with Mrs. Price. And she's not allowed to tell anyone about it. And then when she does, everyone's like, oh my God, that's why you're the pet. That's why you're the favorite, blah, 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 blah. And Amy starts saying, no, Mrs. Price is stealing it. Mrs. Price is stealing from everybody. Like, it's got to be her. And Justine finds her pen, looks like this, in Mrs. Price's bag, because Miss Price takes Justine to go and get her first bra, which also, I know that this is set in the 80s, and so, like, things were different. But at one point, she goes and touches Justine and, like, helps her arrange herself in a bra. Like, you put a bra on, you gotta make sure your girls are in the right place. And it's just, I cannot imagine a teacher doing that to a student in today's day and age, but like, much different time. In the 80s, kids just ran around and did whatever. And it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Didn't come around until the late 80s. So like, I get it. Different time, yada yada. But it is still weird. Like, she is consistently like pitting the girls against each other, and she's always got her favorites and all that kind of stuff. So there's that. And then Justine just walked into the bathroom, and Mrs. Price was there in her mother's dressing gown. Her mother has passed away, so like, and recently, like within a year, and her dad has stopped drinking and is becoming like a more present father. And Justine keeps saying like, oh, I got my dad back, but it's at the cost of the memory of her mom. So she has mixed feelings about that. And then Amy is threatening to expose Mrs. Price, but she doesn't have any proof of Mrs. Price stealing that we know of. So, yeah, that's where we're at right now. I've got the top section, got about that much left. So I will update you in a little while. I probably won't update you again until I finish the book. I'm working on my crochet. I'm reading. You can't tell what that is, but I will eventually show you what it looks like. It does look good. So yeah, I will talk to you in a bit. Bad news. Amy is dead. And I'm gonna say it. Mrs. Price did it. I think Mrs. Price did it. Because the thing is, she fell off the cliff that they hang out by all the time. And she tied a little note to her dog's collar. And I think that the note that is tied to it is a note that they made in class because they were talking about patriotism. And now this one guy let himself get shot as he sung for the pride of his country or whatever. And then she made everybody in the class write a note like that to their parents. Hey, sorry I have to leave you this way. I think she took that note. I think she tied it to the dog. Mrs. Price killed Amy. I'm calling it here and now. Okay, goodbye. I finished the book. It's over. Here's what happens. So, Justine goes over to Amy's parents' house and is like, look, I'm really sorry. I was not there for Amy. And I should have been, but I wasn't. And her parents kind of slowly start to forgive her. And she asks them, like, hey, can I see her suicide note? And then they're like, yeah, okay. So they give it to her. And this is a detail I didn't tell you about. But when they were doing that assignment, Amy was like, this is really weird, and I don't know what to write. And so Justine just wrote a generic, like, dear mom and dad, I'm sorry that you have to find me this way. Or I'm sorry this is the way I leave you, but I don't know any other options. Remember me. And when they give her the note, that's what it says. And she's like, oh my God. That's from the thing. So she goes back to the school to get her own notebook to keep and have as evidence for the police. To be like, look what's going on. And who is there? Mrs. Price. Mrs. Price is there. And she is like, oh, darling, what is going on? What are you up to? It's my accent. I know you love it. But Justine is like, oh, nothing, I'm good, everything's fine. And a chase ensues. It's crazy. Justine runs to the top. They're in primary school. They're like 12. She runs to the top of the playground, and Mrs. Price is following her and is seeing. She's figured out, oh my God, Justine knows Justine's going to ruin everything. Oh my God. And she tries to kill Justine. Justine reaches in her pocket and pulls out, what? The pen she lost at the beginning of the book. She finds it, and she stabs Mrs. Price in the eye, which was gruesome. And I was like, whoop, you know what I mean? And like beats the shit out of Mrs. Price, and Mrs. Price does not make it. And then her father is like blaming himself. The priest and nuns at the school are blaming themselves. Everybody's just beating themselves up, and Justine's like, I killed a woman. Like, how? I'm going to have to deal with this for the rest of my life. And that's it. And here are my thoughts. That is a common thing. Like, everybody has that teacher that they had in school that they really, really wanted to like them. And most of my teachers did like me. And so I never really felt like that need to like please a teacher. But I did have a couple teachers that didn't like me for no freaking reason. And so I could relate to Amy being like, why does this bitch love everybody else but hates me for some reason? So I did get that. But I also, like, this woman had tricked everybody in her life. Everybody. The whole book. And Amy saw through it. And I think, not that that's unrealistic, but I just think it's interesting that the one person who saw through it was Amy. And literally not a single other person saw through it. Just think it's interesting. So, that's that. I think I'll probably add another book to this video because this video so far is pretty short. I don't know what it is yet, so you will find out Well, actually, you probably already know, but I will find out in the next clip. I lied to you, and for that, I really am sorry. It is important to note there's a whole other like subplot of this book where Justine is visiting her father in a retirement home with her now daughter Emma, and every now and then we cut back to them, and it's like 2014, so it's like 30 years after the events of the book. And the thing is, it doesn't matter. Like, it ends up being that Sonia, her father's caregiver, is Mrs. Price's daughter, who Mrs. Price told everybody was dead. And it has no impact. It has no effect on the book. It has no reason at all for being there. And I just didn't care. And anytime they went back, it was like 4 chapters in the whole book, maybe. Probably a little more, but like very little that they were actually in the retirement home. Every time that happened, I was over it. I wanted out. So like that is important. It does happen. I would rate it 4 stars. I think it is worth reading. Still sick, yippee. But today we're reading The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I just finished Catabasis by R.F. Kuang, and it was pretty good. I'm not mad about it. So I'll probably, so I need something different. I need something quicker, a little easier maybe. In the sense of like world building isn't that extravagant. So we're gonna read The Guest List by Lucy Foley. And I will let you know what happens. So I will check back with you in a little while once I've started. Hey girl, I got good news and I got bad news. Which one do you want first? Good news? Okay, the good news is I'm not sick anymore. The bad news is that in my sick state, I held up my phone and recorded nothing for the Lucy Foley book. It was really good. I recommend you read it yourself. Instead, I was talking about dark matter. So I'm gonna read this, go to work, finish it at work, come back, tell you everything that happens. And this will be the So You Don't Have To. And you, unfortunately, will have to go read the Lucy Foley book because it was really good. And I think that you would enjoy it. I know nothing about you, but from what I do know, you'd probably like it. Hey girl, I'm back. And I have sticky notes. So, okay, here's the situation. Okay, I am almost done. I believe I have less than 100 pages left, and then I'm done. And this book had me crying in the club, and it's not even over. So, buckle up. Okay, so first, the main character's name is Jason, and he has a wife named Daniela and a son named Charlie who's 15. And Charlie and Daniela are both artists, and that is something that he keeps thinking about throughout the book. Okay, so keep that in mind, that they are artists. So he's a physics professor at the local college, and the way that he ended up where he is that in university he gave up research or a position at university. He wasn't in college, to start a family with Daniela and raise Charlie after accidentally getting pregnant. Happens to the best of us. Not me though. And his college roommate didn't go that route. He stayed in research and just won a very prestigious award that day. So Daniela is like, get out of the house, girl. Go celebrate with your friend. Have a drink, come back for dinner. So he does. He goes out to meet his friend, and his friend is a jackass. So he's like, oh, and he gets mad, and he starts walking home. And on this walk home, a guy approaches him with a gun and holds out to him and is like, hey, Jason, don't scream, don't fight back, I'll shoot you. I don't care. I will kill you. I've got nothing to lose. And he starts talking to him, and he's instructing him where to go. He's instructing him how to get there. They get to a car, and they end up in an abandoned warehouse where he has them strip naked and then redress. And the guy ties him to a chair, and he's like, "Oh my god, this freaking sucks." And the whole time the guy has a mask on, so Jason can't see his face. And the guy's asking him questions about his life that are very odd. Like, what do you call Daniela? What are your plans tomorrow? Things that he should know, because he knows so many other aspects of Jason's life, concerning things he knows. So he's tied to the chair, and the masked figure for engagement. The masked figure drugs him, and then when he wakes up, there's all these people around him, and they are calling him by his name, and they are telling him, it's okay, we've got you, don't worry, oh my gosh, you're the first one that's made it back, blah, blah, blah. And Jason's like, what the hell is happening? He's in some sort of laboratory. And in this laboratory, there is this big metal box. And he's like, clocked, what is that? We don't know. So in this laboratory, they're talking to him, they're calling him names, they're calling him by his name, and they all know him. And he's like, where is my wife? And they're like, wife? Girl, you didn't get married. You're married to your work. He's like, no, the hell I'm not. So basically, he's sitting there like, oh my god, this is the biggest prank anyone has ever played on anyone ever. Like, this is Truman Show prank. And so he bolts. He escapes. And this guy claims to be his friend and is like, you and me, brother, we are lovers of research. We are scientists, and we have done this together. And Jason has no clue. Never seen this man before in his life. So he's like, oh shit, okay. So he bolts, he escapes, and he goes to a hospital and is like, there's something wrong. Well, first he goes to his house, and when he gets to his house, everything is different. It is his house. Like, he has a key to it, he unlocks it, but none of his decor is there. His wife and son are not there. As far as he can tell, he never married, never had any kids. So he's like, what is going on? My cat is scratching the wall. What are we doing? So he goes to the hospital and is like, I think I've gone insane. I think psychotic break. We're gonna have to do something about that. So they're like, okay, we want to kind of admit you, keep an eye on you, see if you had any head trauma, anything like that. And he's like, this sounds like loony bin. So I'm not 100% sure I've lost it. I just know something's wrong. So I'll come back. So he tracks down Ryan, his friend, who in the earlier chapters won the award. But Ryan is not this renowned scientist. I mean, well, he is. He's a neuroscientist still. But he is not, like, awarded. He is not reputable. He's not well known. And Daniela, she's doing this art gallery with this, like, collection that makes him cry. And he's like, what the fuck? And he goes up to her, and she's like, oh my god, Jason, I haven't seen you in like a year. Dude, this is dedicated to you. Like, I tried to find you, I tried to reach out, but people said they hadn't seen you in 8 months. So, which is a common thing where, like, people were putting out missing reports for him, or missing persons reports for 14 months before. So there's like 14 months where Jason has not been around. And he's like, girl, what? And Ryan and Daniela are going out, and he is livid, but he's not gonna give him shit for it. So he tells Ryan and Daniela the truth, and he's like, shit is hitting the fan. Here's what I know. And they're like, yeah, okay, buddy. And Ryan, he bails. He's like, hey, I don't want to deal with this. Daniela, babe, I'll see you later. And she's like, by the way, between me and him, not serious. And she kind of believes him, but not really. It's more like, she's like, I believe that you believe this. I also believe you're nuts. I just can't prove it. So, okay. This is the first moment where I teared up. So, prepare. He and Daniela sleep together. Which, by the way, girl, you're crazy for that. Because if a friend of mine that I dated maybe 2 dates years ago, because that's her perspective is I haven't seen, like, we dated years ago. I got pregnant. I told you what was going on, and then you thought about it and you came back and you said you didn't want to have a baby. So, like, I got an abortion, and now, like, I'm an artist, you're a scientist. Like, our lives are better for it. But, like, what do you mean we have a kid together? Like, we don't. So he starts to kind of come to the conclusion, like, holy shit, this is not my reality. This is not my world. And she sleeps with him, and in the middle of the night, there's a banging at the door. And she goes to answer it, and it is the people that were looking for Jason. And unfortunately, they shoot her, and she is dead. And Jason does not handle it well. Also, they frame him for her murder, so that way, if he does escape again, he can't stay in this world. So he's like, fuck, how do I get out of this world? Right, okay. He goes back to the laboratory with these people, and they beat the hell out of him. And they figure out, this is not our Jason. This is a different Jason. So how do we get our Jason back? Tell us how you got here. And he's like, I'm actually just not going to say anything. Which I would tell them. Like, maybe they could help me get back, but that's just me. And then they bring in Ryan. He squealed, this stupid pig. But they do kill him, because he's not helpful anymore, and he knows secret stuff. So, basically, the research that, now we're going to go back in time a little bit. The research that Jason was doing whenever he was at that university was, he was working on kind of like multiple, like the multiverse. You know, like he was trying to prove that the multiverse was real and trying to create this is a whole bunch of science stuff that I don't get, okay? I'm not that kind of scientist. I do biology, not physics and space. So they're out and about trying to create Schrodinger's cat, but like not either. Like, basically their idea is that if you have Schrodinger's box and you open it, the act of opening it branches off into 2 different multiverses. One where the cat is dead, one where the cat is alive, right? So they're saying, how do we create the moment where the box is unopened, but still be able to open it? And that is what Jason did when he chose not to have a baby with Daniela in this world. Are you with me? Are you following? Okay. So there's a worker there named Amanda who's like, hey, she is a psychiatrist. And she's like, hey, there have been other people that have gone into this, and we never saw them again. So tell me everything you know. And so he tells her a little bit, but he knows nothing. And basically, they've been killing people. And he tells her that, and she's like, whoa, what? And he's like, yeah, they killed my friend Ryan, they killed Daniela. They're probably going to kill me because I can't give them the information they want, and they're not going to just let me go. And she's like, interesting. And she bails. And then she comes back and busts him out. And they run to this huge cube that he fell out of originally, right? And they go into it, and they take some drugs. And it's not drugs, it's like a neurochemical that they developed to make it where you could see these multiple realities. It's very confusing, but my understanding is that by taking these drugs, you release yourself from the holes of your current reality and open yourself up to the possible branching of all others. So then, when you go through the door, you can choose to enter a new reality. Are you with me? Are you following? Okay. They have 50 ampules when they start, which means that they have 25 chances to get Jason home. Okay? So they go into I'm going to call it a ship from here on out, but know that it's basically like a big black cube. Think Doctor Who, I guess, kind of like that. So they go into the ship and they open it, and it is Chicago. This Chicago is not their or Jason's Chicago, because Amanda's just in it for the ride now. She's like, I can't go back. Like, I'll die. And to be frank, they have no idea how to get back. So in this apocalyptic world, they're like, okay, this sucks. How the hell are we supposed to drive this thing? Like, the other Jason figured out how to get to a world in which he could take over the real Jason's life. So, like, he at least knew how to fly it, or at least, like, found something enough to get it. Which, this brings up the question that I had, which is, if you have infinite possibility, because the multiple reality or multiple universe or whatever theory means that there are an infinite number of possibilities. And if there are an infinite number of possibilities, would the majority of them be apocalyptic? You know, humans kill the earth faster, zombies, plague, like what? There are so many things that can happen, and we've seen so many extinctions in this current reality. So if there are multiple universes that have infinitely more extinctions, do you see what I'm saying? Like, or would it balance out because it's infinite, so it's infinite in both directions? So during this time, every now and then, we cut back to Daniela, the real Jason's Daniela. And she's like, Jason wants me. He is into me. But he puts his shoes on in the morning in his bed. Like, he gets out of bed and puts his shoes on instead of doing it right before he leaves. And he shaves every other day instead of every 2 days. You know, like, little things that kind of just add up, where she's just like, I'm not necessarily mad that he's, like, got this zest for life now, and, like, our marriage is better, but, like, she just can't help but feel odd about it, where she's just like, is he having an affair? Is there a cancer he's not telling me about? Did he get fired and he isn't telling? Like, what? Like, this Jason is different, and she can't quite put her thumb on why. And that's gutting. That makes me tear up, because the idea that your partner, you would know so intricately, that even if it was your partner, but from a different universe in which they chose not to eat toast one day and therefore branched off into a new version of themselves, and you would be able to, like, feel it and just kind of know something was up. Man, to be loved, to yearn. So then they go back into the ship, and they're talking about the laboratory and how, oh man, we barely escaped. And the next one they go into is a universe in which they haven't escaped. And so they're literally making the escape. And because they open the door, they ruin the escape for the other versions of themselves. And Amanda has to watch herself get shot. Which you'll never guess, but that does mess her up. And then after that, they're talking about how Amanda grew up in Minnesota, and when she would drive in the snow, you sometimes get caught in, like, a snowstorm, and you just have to stay there, because what else are you going to do? So, which, reasonable. I have heard of that happening before. So then when they open the next one, it's a tundra. It's a wasteland. And they find this house where the family starved to death, and they stay. And then Jason kind of clicks, and he goes, I think that the way that you go around this is, like, what you're looking for. Like, that's the only thing that could possibly make sense. So then Amanda writes in her notebook, I would like to go to a world that I would want to live in. A good world, a safe world. So when they get there to the next door, it is it's a train station that they go to, and the train opens the door and it helps you on the train, and then it buckles you in, and at your stop it goes, hey, is this your stop? Do you want to go look up at the skyline? And it's just like, it's not futuristic, but it is. Hey girl, things happened at once there. My phone ran out of storage, and also my cat peed on my clothes. Okay, anyways. The city is like just uber safe, and it's like idyllic. Amanda's like, I kind of mess with this, like I kind of like it. And then they go back in, and Jason writes a bunch of stuff about his world where, he's got Charlie, he's got Daniela, they're in love, all that stuff, right? And as he writes this, they're walking through the corridor with all of the boxes in it. And this time, they get into a world that is like just ripped apart by disease and by a pandemic. In which case, he gets to the house, and Danielle opens the door, and she's like, I watched you die. Like, why are you here? Like, I watched you die. Because she and Charlie and Jason had the disease. And he's like, yeah, where's Charlie? Like, he just changes the subject. And she's like, he died last night. He's upstairs. Or not, maybe not last night, because she says he's rotting in his bed, which is awful. So then as they're sitting there, someone, like a enforcer of like the quarantine, and they have like a 24-hour curfew, that kind of thing, shows up. And he's like, oh shit. So he goes over and he tells them, like, my wife is sick, my son just died, like I just want to get my wife somewhere safe. I want to get her somewhere where she can get treatment. I'm keeping an eye on my cats in case you keep seeing me look down. I don't really trust them, but they're both sitting right here at my feet, looking up at me like little angels, even though they are not little angels. So, and I teared up at this part too, so I'm going to try to tell you without tearing up, because that would be embarrassing, and I'm not going to cry on the internet yet. So, Jason goes and tells the officers, like, my wife is sick, my son is dead, I just want to get her some help. And the whole time Amanda's like, let's get the fuck out of here. We don't know her. That's not your wife, right? She is a voice of reason when Jason is kind of starting to lose it. And they're like, hey, we can't do anything for her. It's probably best for her to die in her own bed than to just die in a quarantine camp on an uncomfortable bed surrounded by sick and death. Like, this is the best way for her to go. She probably won't survive the night. And he's like, God, okay. So they give him a bunch of morphine, and they're like, give this to her all at once. She'll go peacefully. And he's like, Jesus Christ, like, this is so tough. He goes over to her and he explains what they told him, and he goes, I can give this to you if that's how you want to go, but I will not make that choice for you. And she's like, I know you're not real, but I don't want to die alone. So do it and just wait until I'm gone to leave. And so he does. He gives her the morphine and she dies, and he covers her with a blanket. And let me just say, what? That sucks. That sucks. Oh God, it's so tough. But I don't care. I was unfazed. I didn't cry. You did, not me. I'm super tough. So then they go, and so they've kind of figured out how to get to Chicago in a world, like no apocalyptic world. And they do it over and over and over again. And they're not finding anything, and they're not finding anything. And Jason is slowly starting to lose it. Every time they get to a new world, he's stalking Daniela. He is stalking Charlie. He's stalking the other version of himself, considering killing him just to take what is his. Like, he's losing it. And finally, Amanda's like, you're losing it, and we're not gonna find what you're looking for. So let's split up. Like, you're going down this path, I can't go with you. So if you're gonna go, go. So she takes half the ampules that are left. There's 16 left, so they each have 8. She takes half the money, and she goes. And I hope she found whatever she was looking for. I don't know what that would be, but she was a real one, and I only hope the best for her. So Jason wanders, and he keeps finding nothing, and he keeps just fucking up. And so then finally, he goes into one of the Jason's house, and he's standing over the bed where that Daniela and that Jason are sleeping, because it's not his world. And he just watches them sleep, and he's pondering killing that Jason. He's like, this is the only way to get what I want. Like, I'm just gonna have to. And he realizes he's the other Jason now. Like, he is that Jason now. And he's like, I can't do this. And so he goes back to the hotel, and he writes out the first night that he met Daniela. And he goes back in to the door, and when he comes out on the other side, he's in his world. And now he's like, okay, I'm here. How do I kill this guy, right? He's like, I'm not a violent man, never killed anybody, never wanted to. I haven't fought anybody since elementary school, so like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And he goes into a gun store to buy a gun. And the lady says, you were here 2 days ago, you were here 6 days ago, and you were here 9 days ago. He keeps coming back? What? Right? And that's where I am now. So, I have like this much left. So as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna tell you everything that happens. Luckily, I have an audiobook, so I'm gonna clean up the cat pee. Thank you, Mr. Comet. That's the name of my cat. And I'll get back to you, and I will tell you what happened. And then maybe we'll cry together. If we cry, you have to hold my hand, though. Okay? Okay, bye. It's a bunch of other Jasons. So they are all doing exactly what he's doing. They are trying to get to Daniela and Charlie because they think that they are the original Jason, but they're not. And we can argue that we don't even know if this Jason is the original Jason, because every time he stepped into a new world, it branched off, right? So now he's like, okay, well, how do you beat someone who is constantly, like, how do you beat someone who has your brain? They're going to anticipate everything you do because they are you. You do something you'd never do. So he got himself arrested. I don't know where this is going, but I will let you know as soon as I know. Hey girl, it's done. I finished the book. Here's what happens. So he calls Daniela and is like, oh my God, I got arrested. Come get me. But he doesn't tell her why he was arrested, just that he was arrested. Then they go pick up Charlie and they go to the mall, and he goes, okay, here's the deal. And he breaks everything down for them, right? And while they were at the police station still, he had her call Jason too, and he picked up. And then she was like, I knew it. And Charlie agreed. Charlie was like, it was you, but it wasn't. And it was just weird. So then they go to this abandoned cabin, and they're talking about what to do. And there's just more and more Jasons showing up. And so he proposes a lottery where he's like, okay, let's do a lottery, and whoever wins, they get Charlie and Daniela. And Daniela is like, no, because I know you're you, because you're the only one who decided to get arrested. Like, you did something none of the other ones would have thought to do. That makes you you. Which I have a problem with that, but I can suspend, like, I can let it go. So, because like eventually another one would have figured it out. Like, there's infinite numbers of them, but that's neither here nor there. So then he's like, okay, well then I don't know what we're gonna do. And the other Jasons, some of them agree to the lottery, some of them don't. Right? So in the middle of the night, Jason goes to get a glass of water and he sees a Jason walking outside the cabin, and he's like, shit. So a bunch of them found him. They start fighting. And Jason too is there. He is the one with the wedding ring, right? And so they scuffle, and Daniela's like, you're not mine. Like, you are from another world, you're from another timeline, whatever you want to say, but you're not mine, and I don't want you. So even if you kill my husband in front of me, even if you kill all the other ones, like, I don't want you. I want this one. I want this Jason. And so then the original Jason kills Jason too. And I'm sure that fucked Charlie and Daniela right on up, having to watch him kill multiple versions of himself and also seeing multiple bodies, because they also killed each other. Like, it wasn't just him doing the killing. So that's a whole mess. And Jason 2, right before he dies, holds out the ring and gives it to him, and he goes, hey, check the glove box of the Suburban. So they do. They go to the Suburban, they start driving, they're like, fuck, where are we gonna go? And one of the Jasons fires a gun and almost shoots Daniela. So like, holy shit. And in the box are more ampules. And so he's like, what else do we do? So they go back to the warehouse. They go back to the box. And down in the basement where the box is, there are 50 Jasons. We know that there's well over 100 now, but there's 50 more in the basement waiting for the lottery. And they're like, why do you get her? And Daniela's like, I want this one. I'm sorry that you have all been through everything you've been through, and I'm sorry that all of this shit has hit the fan for you, but you're not my Jason anymore. You were, but you're not anymore. This is my Jason. I want this one. So they go into the box, all three of them together, and Daniela is like, well, what, like, won't they track us here? Like, won't eventually, if there's infinite possibilities, won't Jason find one? And he's like, yeah, if I open it, but I'm not going to open a door, and you're not going to open a door. So they get Charlie to do it. And when Charlie opens the door, it is beautiful wilderness. And then it ends. Okay. It was going to be 5 stars. It was going to be. I'm going to say it's like 4. And here's why. Because the idea that our Jason, the one we've been following all book, is the original Jason does make sense. However, like, wouldn't he stop being the original Jason after he made any decision? Because he went from being the one Jason, he goes into the box, 2 Jasons. He makes a decision, 2 more Jasons. Because the idea is that every single time you make a decision, it branches and there's another universe where you made the other choice. And if it's not a yes or no choice, you made infinite number of choices, right? So there's a universe where he doesn't get himself arrested and he just sits there stewing, and a different Jason figures it out. Like, you could say he's the most recent Jason, but there are an infinite number of original Jasons. They're just newer. Like, the branching is just closer. So, as glad as I am that our Jason won, like, does he necessarily deserve it like the other ones do? Does that make sense? So, I didn't cry. I did tear up just a little bit, but I thought it was great. So I'm gonna make my boyfriend read it, so that way I can talk to him about it, because he's an astrophysicist. So I can be like, huh? And he's gonna go, oh, not that kind of space. Just like I said, not that kind of scientist. But maybe I'll be surprised. So yeah, I think it's worth your time. I rate it 4 stars. I will see you in the next video.